Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tao of the Day. This is Martin John, and I am your host for Tao of the Day. What is Tao of the Day? It is it's everything you're looking for. No, Tao of the Day is I look at the Tao Te Ching and I read from the Tao Te Ching. There are 81 chapters in the Tao Te Ching, and I invite you to step up and ask and pick a number between 1 and 81. I have recently finished a translation of the Tao, and I'm working on presenting it as an oracle deck as well as a course and other things, and always looking forward to sharing the Tao. I didn't catch your name. Is this Andrea? Is that right?
Hello.
Hello, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
very glad. I'm doing very well. And you sound like you are in the afternoon. Are you in the afternoon?
I'm definitely in the afternoon.
All right. Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Han.
Yeah. So this is Tao of the Day. Have you heard this program before?
I haven't heard yours. No, I haven't. I think this is the first time I think I've heard you speak. I've definitely seen your picture because I more remember pictures than I do people. So
Okay.
I remember your picture. I think I've seen you on Rodney's show. Um,
Oh yeah, I've been around for a while, so I get on and I do some things.
yeah, I see you round. I see you round.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, so this is Tao of the Day, and let me give you a little brief. Do you know the Tao Te Ching? Are you familiar
I
with it?
do, I do. I heard what you said about picking a number
Oh,
1 to
yeah.
8. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's so dope. That's what made me press the button.
Oh, well let's get into it.
Okay, but just before, I just wanted to say, so I first heard about the Tao when I was reading. It was a book by what's his name now? Dr. Wayne Dyer. That
He wrote a book. Yeah,
yeah,
change
that
your
change your
thoughts,
thoughts.
change your life, or something.
Yeah, that's the one. And
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite books. And
yeah.
that's how I started to learn about the Tao and I really got into it. But I haven't actually read the Tao.
Oh well, let's dive into it.
Yeah, let's do. Okay, so I'm gonna pick my favorite number, and that's gonna be 22. One
22.
of us.
Okay, so this is how this is gonna go. I'm gonna read this to you. You're gonna give me some of your initial thoughts, things that pop out, whatever, and then we'll start going through it line by line, and we'll break it apart and see how it all relates to what's going on in your life right now.
Let's do it.
All right, so this one is titled "Looking Away from What You Want." To
Mm,
become complete, know that you're partial. To become straight, know that you're crooked. To become full, know that you're empty. To be new, know that you're worn out. He who wants it all must know what all includes. Thus, the master stays centered in Tao and becomes an example for the world. Because she knows her light is forfeit, people can see it. Because she has no point to prove, people can trust her words. Because she has no identity, she becomes a mirror for others. Because she has nothing to attain, nothing can be kept from her. Thus, when it is said to become complete, know that you're partial, it is wise to heed and surrender to it. Only by living in collaboration with Tao can one find completion.
love it. Love it. Love it. Resonates. Love it.
Beautiful. What are some of your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts were this really does relate to where I'm at right now.
Mm.
Because I was literally, so I do a talk on Zoom every Wednesday because I'm a life coach. And I was writing my talk today, and it basically was sort of talking about understanding that you're a part of the whole. And if
Mm. Go
you're part
on.
of the whole, yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
If you are a part of the whole encompasses everything, everything and everyone. And if you talk about being love, love is all there is. So love is everything. So to be love or to be high, you have to be low. Or
Yes.
to be in, you have to be out. To be happy, you have to experience sadness, because only in the absence of a thing can one experience a thing. So the absence of a thing is the indication that the thing is actually existing.
Right.
So
That's beautiful.
yeah, I was just like, yeah, this is so spot on. This is what we're.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. So yeah, so I totally, like, one of the things I like to do when I talk about this is like bring the beginning and the end together. And the first line is to become complete, know that you're partial. And the last line is only by living in collaboration with Tao can one find completion. This
Yeah,
is like giving up of yourself, surrendering to what is going to be the thing that helps complete you. So many of us live our lives in this way of being like, I want something. I want to have something.
mm,
And by noticing, like you were saying, the absence of it is how I know that I'm in discontent. Right?
yeah.
and it's like, no, you're not in discontent. You're finding completion.
Ah, yes. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You're experiencing it as discontent, and that's because you're focused on what you don't have
Have.
rather than focusing on the collaboration in which you are living.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I've realized that in my own life, that I was actually, when I was meditating this morning, and I can't remember, it will come back to me, but I was meditating this morning, and I was thinking about, why is it that when I, oh yeah, this is what I was thinking about, ISI, which is the name of my coaching company, and I was thinking, why does the world not know about ISI? And I thought to myself, if I was trying to keep it a secret, everybody would have heard about it. But because I want everybody to know about it, I feel like it's the world's best kept secret. So I was like, what is that? And it was like, all I heard was Spirit say to me, because the universe will give you the desire of your heart, like in what's in the deeper part of you. So I'm like, if I'm saying I want to keep it a secret, my reason for keeping it a secret is so that everybody doesn't know what I'm doing. So because I don't want everyone to know what I'm doing, I'm literally going to bring that manifestation of everyone knowing what I'm doing to myself. So,
Right. It is how you ask the question.
right.
Right. It's how you make the
And
statement.
the intent, like, I'm trying to hide. Why am I trying to hide? Because I believe that there's total visibility. So if
Hmm.
I believe that there's total visibility and I'm trying to hide, that's why I'm trying to hide, because I believe there's visibility. So visibility is showing up for me.
Hmm.
Whereas if I believe that, oh, I want everyone to see and I'm trying to show everyone, I don't believe that there's visibility because I'm trying to show it to everyone. So therefore, the lack of visibility is showing up for me. I don't know if that kind of makes sense what I'm saying, but yeah.
Well, let's look at some of these early lines in this, looking away from what you want, right? Like, let's look at that title first. Like, looking
Mm,
away from what you want. To become complete, know that you're partial. To become straight, know that you're crooked. To become full, know that you're empty. To become new, know that you're worn out. He who wants it all must know what all includes. So, what you're saying is to be seen, know that you're hidden,
mm,
right? Like,
yeah,
know that you're hidden, know that you can't be found. To be found, know that you can't be found, right? To,
yeah,
like, know that, like, really absorb that, really sort of embody this idea that, like, you want to be found and know that you're hidden.
yeah,
Know that you're hidden. When you know that you're hidden, you can start to embrace what you are. And I'm not saying you'll stay hidden, because obviously, if you want to become complete, know that you're partial. If you want to be found, know that you're hidden.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
But
you
it's
can
in the
start,
knowing, isn't it?
addressing it.
It's
Yeah.
in the knowing. It's in
Hmm.
the knowing, yeah. It's in the being aware and the knowing. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, because you can wake up every morning and go, why haven't I been found? Why haven't I been found? Why haven't I been found? And then every day, the universe is answering that question. Well, this is why you haven't been found.
Yeah, yeah. Because
And
you don't
yet,
believe it, really.
right, know that you're hidden. Know that
Yeah,
you're hidden and really start to embrace that. Embrace the idea that you're hidden and know that change is the only constant.
yeah,
And so then you can open up to being found.
yeah.
So then it goes on. Thus, the master stays centered in Tao and becomes an example for the world. You can become an example for the world by knowing that you're hidden. Will you stay hidden? No. Why? Because it won't be hidden, right? Like, because once you know that you're hidden, you won't be, you'll accept the fact that you're hidden, and you won't be afraid of being found. You will accept being hidden in all of its glory, and then allow that to shift and change. And then you will be found. And then you won't want to be found, right? And then it will just be that you are found. Because she knows her light is forfeit, people can see it. Because she has no point to prove, people can trust her words. Because she has no identity, she becomes a mirror for others. I don't know, I'm assuming you have a call or something, so I'm just going to continue. Unmute whenever you are. Whenever you are free. Because she has no identity, she becomes a mirror for others. I love that, because when you are not beholden to any identity, then everybody else can see themselves in you. It's not when you hold yourself, like when you are something and you want to be seen as something, you want to be known as something, and you have these skills and you have all of this stuff that you want to put out in the world, and you are something important. Well, then you expect everybody to see you because you are so important. But when you kind of get rid of that identity, you know, I know you were muted. I didn't know if you had a call or not.
No, I was listening. I was
Oh,
listening.
okay. Okay. So yeah, so this line pops out to me. I don't know which one of these like holds your attention, but because she has no identity, she becomes a mirror for others. And I think as a coach, that's a really important aspect, so that
Yeah,
other people don't live under your influence, that they
yeah,
get to see who they are.
yeah. And that's what it is. It's I don't have like an Andrea identity as per se. I strive to have a love identity. I
Mm-hmm.
identify love. So I say to people, whatever your expression of that is true to for you. If my expression of love is to sing for my neighbors, then that's my expression of love. If
Whether
my
they like it or not.
whether they like it or not, but I can safely say they like it. I can safely say they like it. And
Good.
requests say they literally come sometimes knock on my back door and be like, "Oh, we haven't heard you singing for a couple of weeks. Is everything
Mm.
okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh.
just resting my voice." And they're like, "Okay," because I opened my windows on Wednesday and I didn't hear anything, and I was like, "Oh," because I used to
Oh,
hold.
so beautiful.
So, but yeah, that's yeah, because I sing. So yeah, it really is that just getting not losing myself, but identifying myself from a place of love. So it's
Yeah.
not me. It's about being love here
Yeah.
in this space, in this universe, in this where we are. I want to be that part of that that collective that raises the vibration of love in this earth, in this universe, because I know when I'm in a loving space in the universe, that has an impact on the whole universe. I also understand that when I'm angry, that has an impact on the whole universe. So I'm very mindful of the whole. Like I see the universe as a body, and if you buck your toe, the whole body feels the pain. You don't just, you feel it through your body. And you don't just say, right, I'm going to cut that toe off. You say, well, everybody, let's hand rub the toe, make it feel better. Okay. It's just being a part of the whole and understanding that not everybody's where you're at. Not everybody sees things how you see things. But more importantly, how do you see everything?
Yeah, and as this continues and concludes, we see this line like, because she has nothing to attain, nothing can be kept from her. And I think we look at that when we look at, like, you're being hidden, and wanting to be found, or all of that, right? Like, when you no longer need to attain the idea that the world knows who you are, you will get that, because you will be able to flow. So you just dropped off, and if you wanted to come back up really quick so we can finish these last lines, that'd be great. And then we'll get to Julie, and then Mary Kay, my lovely ladies. We'll definitely get to you very shortly. So this 22 wraps up with, thus, when it is said to become complete, know that you are partial. It is wise to heed and surrender to it, because only by living in collaboration with Tao can one find completion.
Yeah, yeah. It's that reminds me of what I like to call the undivided duality of life. You know, we are in
Mm-hmm.
we are in divided duality. You are there having your experience as God, through God, by God, whatever you want to say. And I'm here having my experience, and God is having an experience of Himself through my eyes and through
Yeah.
your eyes and through the eyes of everybody here, be them high vibrational or low vibrational, because we understand that, yeah, we are,
And
we,
like in that high vibration, low vibration, that's dis- distinguishing one from the other. And the thing is
mm,
that, like, there is no reason to distinguish the two. Like, there is a vibration. And then,
yeah,
like, we can now, of course, like, yes, it is better to have high vibration and all of these things. But, like, if we start judging those things as high and low and what have you, then it really pushes people to uh, try and attain something that's unattainable. Like, being isn't something you attain, it's something you do, And so much of this is all about, like, if you want to be found, know that you're hidden, right? And then and move forward from that. Heed it, surrender to it, know that you're partial, know that this is a collaboration, and you can move about, but in moving about, the collaboration makes you complete.
absolutely.
Andrea, thank you so much for joining me today. It was
Thank you
wonderful
for
chatting with
having me. It was great talking to you. I'm sure I'll bump into you again sometime.
you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, Martin, take care.
Ciao.
Ciao.
So that was weird. I just ended that. I don't know how how I did that, but I definitely ended that, and I had Julie and Mary in line. I had no idea that I was doing that. I don't know what was happening. I was trying to get Julie back on, and I must have just hit the button. Good, Julie's back. Like, I'm a noob here. I have no idea what I just did. Oh my God, that was so weird. I literally ended my talk.
I know you did.
I have no idea how I did that. Like, I don't know. I don't like I don't even remember doing anything. I was just like, what just happened? I I
Well,
I, I literally ended my talk. Wow. That's like
you
that's
lost yourself.
I did. I was not even such a strange thing. Oh man, Julie, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I was just about to, if I like this talk, share it.
Yeah. Fuck.
There you go.
Man,
You
that
see,
was that was crazy. I have no idea. Wow. I was like, I don't know that I've done that before. Even when I was new, I wasn't even paying attention. I don't know what happened. was very interesting. Very interesting.
Can we go for number 78 then to see what
78.
occurs?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
just go straight to 70. I can't even think about that anymore because I don't know what the hell I did. So 78. Um, so this is entitled Living in a Damaged State.
Okay.
Air and water are the softest things we know, causing no damage to those that live within them. Yet both erode the hard or rigid in their path. The soft and flexible will always overcome, while the hard and rigid eventually collapse. Ordinary men are well aware of this. However, they prefer conspicuous outcomes. Thus, they align with rigid hardness, and it stands firm for a time, but does not last. Therefore, the Master teaches us that we can live amongst things that damage without being damaged by them.
Lovely. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah. This one is really sort of like sneaky.
Mm.
Like it's got these points to it where it's like, like when I was translating this, it was really interesting for me to kind of like be like, oh wait, like air and water are the softest things we know, causing no damage to those who live within them, because we all live within
The flow.
the flow of either water or air. We live
Yeah.
in this state. We are completely surrounded by air right now. Like you and I.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be completely surrounded by. You might be in a tub or in the river. I don't know. But so you may be surrounded by water or surrounded by air,
Yeah.
and it's not causing you any damage.
But I recognize its strength.
Yeah. Yet both erode the hard or rigid in their path.
Yes.
Like like that's such a like when I was really really excited about that first section, right? Air and water, the softest things we know, causing no damage to those who live within them, yet both erode the hard or rigid in their path. And you have to be in the flow. You have to allow the water to
Take
move
you.
around. Yeah, and to take you and to do that, right? The soft and flexible will always overcome, while the hard and rigid eventually collapse.
Yep. It's almost like saying, for me, if I'm trying to build a foundation that's solid, be aware because it can be eroded. And what will I
Yeah,
do then? That's what that says to me.
yeah. You have to be flexible.
Yes.
You have to be able to go with it. And the world around you is a damaging place.
Yeah.
Like there are things that we are going to find every day that are going to, and the more inflexible we want to be towards those things, whether it's, if we want to be rigid towards our concepts around drugs and alcohol, if we want to be rigid toward our concepts of our neighbors, if we want to be rigid toward our concepts of anything, the more rigid we are, the more damage it's doing to us.
Yeah.
Because it's going to eventually erode us.
Yeah. It
And
also kind of reminds me of something that popped into my head is placing all your eggs in one basket.
mm-hmm.
The basket being the rigid thing that you
Yeah.
are. But as you know, the wind will come, blow the basket falls over, egg
Mm-hmm.
smashed.
Humpty Dumpty all over again.
You have to stop saving your eggs. Just eat
Yeah.
one egg at a time, for goodness
Just eat
sake.
them. Just eat them. It's interesting as we move into this next section. Ordinary men are well aware of this. However, they prefer conspicuous outcomes. Thus, they align with rigid hardness. It stands for a time, but does not last.
Can you, I know this is going to sound a bit strange, but can you just rephrase the word conspicuous? What does that mean in that sentence?
Well, when the way I kind of thought about this is like, well, how do we, when I was translating it, it's like, I'm going to read this sentence again. Ordinary men are well aware of this, however, prefer conspicuous outcomes. As I was talking to Andrea earlier, we were talking about the idea of like the opposites, right? If you want to be straight, know that you're
Yes.
crooked. If you want to be, and I look at this and I'm like, what, when you have a conspicuous outcome, that means it's obvious, right? There's something like really clear being
Okay. Yeah.
achieved. It's not subtle, right?
It's like
And
a
being,
target then.
what's that?
A target or a goal.
Yeah,
A
it's a goal.
specific.
It's a like I want something very specific, and I
Yes.
want it to look, and it's not hard to get that in the world of manifestation, right?
Mm.
Thus they align with rigid hardness, and it stands firm for a time but does not last. Like conspicuous outcomes is like, slavery or racism or, political standpoints, or like,
Mm.
political like ideology, and certain ways of doing things, like, oh, money is important, so I'm going to get a job that makes a lot of money, and like I'm going to go do
Mm.
these things that, that are conspicuous. Why? Because being in the flow, things happen subtly. Being in the flow, allowing, like sitting in the middle of the river and allowing the water to go around you, you can go mist. Like you can just be like, oh, just moving with the flow of the river.
Mm.
As you flow down the river, it's not conspicuous, it's quiet. But then you put a big stone in the middle of the river, and all of a sudden it's making noise
Yes.
because the water is splashing up against it and forcing its way around it. This is conspicuous outcomes. When you
Okay.
when you hold rigidness in the midst of the flow, you start to create waves that are conspicuous.
Yeah.
Thus they align with rigid hardness. It stands for a time, right? That stone is going to stand for a time, and it's going to be obvious, and it's going to be like, oh my God, look at that stone in the middle of there. But it does not last. Eventually, that water is going to erode that stone, and it's going to collapse. And
Mm.
then the water is going to the surface of the water is going to flow over it without anybody even knowing it's there.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
you, the whole time, have been flowing with it, moving downstream, unknown by everybody, but you're in motion. You're moving with the flow of everything. So that's where, this ordinary men are well aware of this, are well aware of what? That rigidity will eventually collapse, and that soft and flexible will always overcome.
Yeah.
However, they prefer the conspicuous outcome. I want to be here. I want my ego to be stroked. I want I want to be noticed. Thus, they align with rigid hardness. They make a stand. So many marketing gurus say, make a stand, make sure like people are going to be against you, and people are going to, like all of these things. It's like, well, like, can you just move with the flow? Well, then you won't be found and no one's going to pay attention to you. Well, maybe that's okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's okay.
Thus they align with rigid hardness. It stands for a time, but doesn't last. Like, therefore, the master teaches us that we can live amongst things that damage without being damaged by them.
Lovely.
And I think that that's what happens when people plant their flags. And when people, I have an email going out tomorrow all about this, actually. This idea that, like, when you plant your flag in one place, that's probably a place that you're about to leave.
Yes.
And yet you plant your flag and then hold on tight as you like you hold on to this flag. And I just, in the imagery, is like the water is rushing around you, and you're just like holding on to this flag that you planted in the middle of the river, while your body is like, trying to go with the
With the
flow.
flow.
And you're holding on to this idea of who you are and what you are and all of this.
Yeah. That is fantastic. I do love the way that my lovely river is flowing. Excuse me. And I always seem to see you there as well, floating along in your river. And that is delightful.
It is
The
so
things that you notice, the things that occur, the synchronicities and the love, all in that river. And I see you quite often, Martin John.
Mm.
And you allow me to just roll over onto my back, put my hands behind my head, and just enjoy the flow and wherever it takes me.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little wave over there. Hiya.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Like and that conspicuous outcome. That was a phrase that I really sort of, struggled with, because I was like,
Yeah.
how do I express all of this in just like, how do I express what ordinary men prefer? And like
Yes.
they
In a
it's
way that is retrievable. It's in a
right.
bite-sized kind of retrievable sentence, isn't it? So you don't have
Yeah,
to think too hard to remember it. So that
right.
was good, but I just wanted in my mind's eye, because every
It's a
now and then a
tough one.
word will come and I will say, what do you actually mean by that word? And I'm just going to fess up and say, yeah, I'm no dictionary. I don't always.
No, no, no,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and
I'm
I
happy
think
with
that,
that.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to go through it. But it's like, like to really try and, like, we can express this in a way that, goes on forever,
Yes. Yeah.
but to try and get it. And I'm glad that you asked about conspicuous outcomes, because like that's a real important thing.
Yeah.
Like, people prefer, like, this is, my how I see the world at the moment, is that, they are well, and this is how I also like look at how they expressed it in many different translations, was that ordinary men, although being aware of the fact that being soft and flexible will overcome the hard and rigid, they still prefer to be hard and rigid.
Mm.
Why would you do that? Well, because you prefer a conspicuous outcome. You prefer success
Yeah.
than to be here with what's going on, than to be flexible with the world. You prefer, people prefer to be angry than to be yielding and to allow people to do what they want. People
People
prefer,
prefer to be the master of one, not the jack of all trades.
right. And I
That
heard
is,
something recently
yeah,
where it's like, the master, the jack of all trades, master of none, like, but like the whole phrase kind of finishes off, but the master of all trades is still better than the master of one, like,
yes,
like, because you can relate one thing to the next. You can, like, if you know carpentry and electrics, well, then you know how to frame a house so that you can have both. Like,
yes.
if you don't
That
know
was
how the
my,
electrics are going to go
yeah,
through, like, maybe your carpentry's not finely crafted, but
and that's
the lights
fluidity.
work.
That's fluidity. That is
Yeah,
being adaptable and bending and allowing the
yeah,
force to wash through you, the knowledge to come to you and leave you, and it creates for you a beautiful set of tools, which is what we're all kind of wanting, yet we own them already. We have those tools in us,
absolutely.
but we just don't know how to access them sometimes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, absolutely. You and me both. We focus on things for a time, and then we integrate, right?
Yes,
That one
that's it.
there's
Be-
that one, action and integration, stillness and integration. Like, after you've done acting on something, be still, let it integrate into the whole, and then move forward, right? Like,
Lovely.
that's into the next thing. And so yeah, we are living, as this number 78 states, we are living in a damaged state, but we don't have to be damaged by it.
Correct. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Martin. John, you're amazing.
Oh, love you, dear.
Take care.
Oh, thank you all for joining me. If anybody wants to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81, I accidentally cut off this after Andrea was up. I don't know what happened. I totally blanked. But what I'm going to do is download both of these and put them into the podcast as one episode. But I've only, but it came off as two. So if you guys can join me next time tomorrow, I can't promise I won't ever make that mistake again, but there it is. All right. Love you guys. This is Martin John. I'm your host of Tao of the Day. If you ever wanted to join me, I am here weekday mornings, Central Time. And I just ask that you pick a number between 1 and 81. We'll read through a Tao together and we'll see how it relates to your life. There's going to be a Tao of the Day app coming out eventually, probably sometime second quarter next year, as well as my translation of the Tao in English, as well as a course on all of this and everything. So all of that is in the works, and I appreciate your following me here on Wisdom. We will soon have a day of the Tao, and that'll be a day where I'll go through each of the translations that I've written and talk about what they are all about and why they got translated the way they did, and we'll have guests just to chat with me about specific chapters. So thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.